If you own an investment property and you've been panicking about the negative gearing changes, you can take a breath. Most of what you've read won't touch you. But there's one situation the government nearly got badly wrong. It's called the widow's tax, and even now it's only half fixed. Let me walk you through it because the detail matters more than the headline. First, the reassurance. If you've owned your investment property before 7:30 on the 12th of May 2026, you're grandfathered. Your negative gearing keeps running exactly as it does now. There's no deadline and no phase out. And the grandfathering sits on the property, not the loan. So refinancing to a better rate with a new lender, completely safe. If you've been sitting on a bad rate because you were scared to move, go and fix it now. The only thing that puts that at risk is the property changing hands. And for most people, that never happens because stamp duty stops them. Transfer an investment property to your spouse just to split the income in New South Wales and you'll cop full duty and capital gains bill. And that's why nobody does it. But there are two times a property does change hands without anyone choosing it: a death and a separation. When a couple splits or one partner passes away, the property moves into one person's name and the usual stamp duty and capital gains handbrakes get waived. Now, when the reforms first passed, nobody had thought that through enough. On the wording, the person left holding the property had effectively reacquired it and after the cutoff and lost the grandfathering. So a widow or someone rebuilding their life after a divorce could lose the tax benefit on a property they'd owned for years at the worst possible moment. The press has been calling it the widow's tax. Here's the current state of play, and this is where being across the detail actually matters. Early this month, the government put out draft rules to fix it. The draft carries the grandfathering and the capital gains discount through to whoever ends up with the property after a death or a separation. On death, the surviving spouse keeps it as long as the property was owned before the cutoff. Good. But here's the catch, and it's the bit that'll trip people up. On a separation, the protection only applies if you do the split properly, through formal consent orders or a binding financial agreement. If you and your ex just quietly transfer the property between yourselves on a handshake to keep it amicable and cheap, you fall outside the protection and the grandfathering is gone. Think about how backwards that is. The couple who lawyer up are protected. The couple who try to do the decent, low conflict thing and sort it out between themselves lose the tax break. That's the trap. And remember, it's still only a draft. It's out for consultation, it's not law yet, and doesn't protect anyone until it's legislated. So if you're going through a separation or dealing with a deceased estate right now, do not sign anything on a handshake. Get it structured the right way and get advice before the paperwork, not after. The other group who get caught are the renovators. Old house on a good block, very Western Sydney, and you knock it down to build new or a duplex or you subdivide. No stamp duty stops you because you already own it. But demolish the dwelling and put up a brand new one, and there is a real question about whether you're now holding a new property under these rules, which changes everything. That's not settled either. So if a rebuild's on your radar, get the advice before you commit the finance, not after the slab's down. And the most common one of all, but gentler than people fear, redrawing equity out of your investment property for the family home, a renovation, school fees, that doesn't lose your grandfathering. But the money you pulled out isn't deductible if you spend it on yourself, because deductibility follows what you do with the money, not what it's secured against. So redraw if you need to, just keep it in its own split and don't assume it's deductible. So what's the truth of it? Refinancing is safe. Panic restructuring is where people get hurt. And the biggest risks aren't tax deductions, they're life events. A death, a separation, a rebuild, the rules around them are still moving, which is exactly why you want someone watching them for you. The changes don't begin until July 2027. You've got time to get this right. If you've got a grandfathered property and any of that is on your horizon, that's the conversation to have with us first.